Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at something truly fascinating: what it actually takes to govern an institution tasked with safeguarding a nation's very soul. We're unpacking a comprehensive strategic guide for the chairman of the board of the Saudi Heritage Preservation Society, or SHPS for short. It's a role that requires an incredible, almost contradictory blend of skills. You need this deep, reverent understanding of ancient customs on one hand, and the sharp, tactical execution of a modern boardroom executive on the other. So, we're going to break down exactly how this unique position works. Which brings us to a massive question. How do you govern a nation's heritage? How exactly do you balance the preservation of fragile, ancient traditions with the rigorous, fast paced demands of modern corporate governance? The chairman of SHPS isn't just looking at old artifacts in a museum. They're managing a highly sophisticated organization, one that navigates strict government regulations, secures massive corporate funding, and operates on the global diplomatic stage. It is a really remarkable, high stakes balancing act between the ancient and the modern. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with safeguarding a nation's soul, move on to the custodian of culture, then the boardroom architect, the global ambassador, and finally, building a lasting legacy. All right, Section 1, Safeguarding a Nation's Soul. Let's look at the evolution of SHPS. You see, SHPS didn't just appear overnight as a global heavyweight. It actually started out as a grassroots civil society initiative back in 2010, holding its very first constituent meeting at the National Museum. By 2013, they had zeroed in on protecting physical archaeological sites. But the massive turning point is 2019, where they secured official UNESCO accreditation as an advisory body. And now they're operating under a highly structured strategic plan launched in 2022. The chairman is steering a ship that has grown exponentially in both size and diplomatic importance in a remarkably short window of time. Moving into Section 2, the custodian of culture. Here, we're overseeing substantive heritage work. When we hear the word heritage, we often just think of tangible heritage, right? The physical stuff. Ancient ruins, archaeological dig sites, or historic mud brick buildings that are facing intense pressures from modern urban development. But the chairman must also fiercely protect intangible heritage. These are the living, breathing traditions passed down through generations. Think of the ritual of the Majlis guest reception, an absolute cornerstone of communal gathering and hospitality, or the specific, delicate geometric knowledge required to weave traditional Sadu textiles. The chairman literally has to champion both the stones of the past and the living practices of the present. And the chairman is guarding an incredibly diverse cultural ecosystem. We're talking about the majestic art of falconry, this ancient pact between humans and birds of prey out in the desert, existing side by side with the energetic, sword-wielding Najdi Arda dance. They protect centuries-old date palm knowledge, the deep traditions of cultivating Kalani coffee, and Al-Qad al-Asiri, which is this incredibly vibrant, geometric interior wall painting traditionally done by women. Now, the chairman doesn't need to be a master weaver or a falconer themselves, but they absolutely must be a passionate custodian of this dynamic variety of cultural expression. Getting these elements inscribed internationally isn't just filling out an online form. No way. It is a rigorous, highly technical pipeline. Step 1 is proactively identifying overlooked heritage. Finding those fading traditions before they disappear forever. Step 2 is absolutely critical, engaging and documenting hand in hand with the community. The guide heavily stresses that this cannot be an extractive process where researchers just swoop in. It has to be a genuine, respectful partnership with the local bearers of the tradition. Only then can they move to Step 3, which is compiling the incredibly dense technical nomination files required by UNESCO for official recognition. Which brings us to Section 3, the boardroom architect, navigating internal governance. So, transitioning from cultural fieldwork out in the desert to corporate governance in the boardroom, the chairman has to seamlessly put on the hat of the boardroom architect. They carry the ultimate fiduciary duty. And that isn't just a fancy title. It means full legal responsibility for financial stewardship. The chairman must ensure the society completely complies with the Ministry of Human Resources and Social Development. And they have to guarantee that every single real spent clearly aligns with their strategic mission. It's a heavy regulatory burden for sure, but it serves to anchor all of that inspiring cultural work we just explored. The strategic guide provides a brilliant warning for anyone taking on this role. It says to avoid both excessive board intrusion into operational matters properly delegated to management and insufficient board oversight. I mean, it hits the nail on the head. The chairman has to guide the general manager and a dedicated team of specialized anthropologists and heritage officers without breathing down their necks. They have to govern, not micromanage, while still firmly holding the executive team accountable for their overall impact. And they have to maintain this careful oversight across a massive geographic footprint. This isn't just a single office building in Riyadh. The chairman is governing a dynamic network that stretches out to incredibly distinct regional branches. Whether the team is documenting World Heritage sites among the stunning rock formations of Alula, navigating historic urban development in Jeddah, or preserving the vast oasis landscapes of Al Asa, the chairman has to ensure consistent quality and strategic alignment across the board, all without crushing the local flexibility needed to do the work right on the ground. Section 4. The Global Ambassador, covering external representation and diplomacy. $25 million. That was a single commitment made by Saudi Arabia to UNESCO for heritage preservation. This perfectly captures the incredibly high-stakes financial and diplomatic ecosystem the chairman navigates. The chairman isn't just running a small local charity. They're a senior representative operating in a global space where millions of dollars and immense national prestige are on the line. Every conversation and negotiation carries serious weight. The weight of their international role is profound. SHPS represents the very first Arab organization ever accredited in the heritage field at the UNESCO Intergovernmental Committee. So the chairman is representing not just their society and not just Saudi Arabia, but acting as a pioneer for the entire Arab world on the global stage. They have to contribute substantively to international heritage discourse, share their specialized documentation expertise with other nations, and actively participate in complex global NGO forums. Back at home, the global ambassador hat requires incredible fluidity. One day, the chairman is sitting across the table from corporate executives securing massive resource mobilization, like their 2021 strategic partnership with the Saudi telecom company. The next day, they're managing complex government relations, ensuring SHPS's civil society mission remains independent yet completely impartially aligned with the overarching national priorities of Saudi Vision 2030, particularly when it comes to cultural tourism and the creative economy. It's a constant, high-level diplomatic pivot. Okay, our final section, Section 5, Building a Lasting Legacy, Future-Proofing the Institution. How does a chairman actually ensure their work outlasts their own tenure? Well, first, they have to champion digital transformation. This means using cutting-edge technologies like 3D scanning for archaeological sites, which is absolutely vital because mud brick ruins and stone carvings are constantly wearing away from weather and time. It also means creating high-quality digital archives of intangible traditions. Second, they must engage the youth. Heritage dies if it isn't passed down, right? So they create mentorships and apprenticeships to link master artisans with young Saudis. Third, they demand rigorous impact measurement to prove their work actually changes things on the ground. And finally, board succession planning, ensuring the next chairman is entirely ready to take the reins without missing a single beat. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really powerful question. What cultural heritage would you want preserved for your future generations? The work of the Saudi Heritage Preservation Society shows us that protecting a nation's soul isn't just about looking backward with nostalgia. It's about building a robust, well-governed, and dynamic bridge to the future. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the architecture of heritage, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.